Hello there and welcome to another video. I'm Pavlov and I'm a dog. So in short, to go through the terms, we have a conditioned stimulus, which is a neutral stimulus that is trained to be associated with an unconditioned response and should that trigger a conditioned response, which I will explain in a moment. We have an unconditioned stimulus, which is a stimulus which naturally creates a visible response. To take as an example, you automatically blink if you get air puffed in your eye, and then that's an unconditioned stimulus. We have an unconditioned response, and this means that the unlearned, naturally occurring response to an unconditional stimulus, such as pulling your hand away when you feel something is hot and you don't want to get burned. And lastly, we have a conditioned response, which is a learned response to a formerly neutral stimulus, such as blinking when you hear a tone. Yeah, cool. Lastly, there's also fear conditioning, which is an emotional response to a formerly or a neutral stimulus, to a noxious event. And all of this conditioning is done to see if an animal learns something. And the rate at which he learns something, is done by the Rescorla-Wagner model. The Rescorla-Wagner model explains the change in association strengths for a stimulus X, where your attention to that stimulus, where you do the attention to that stimulus times the learning rate times the target value, and the target value is either 1 if the animal is learning and 0 if he's not, minus the total associate strength. Naturally, if a stimulus isn't used anymore, it will eventually fade away, so the animal will not respond anymore to that stimulus. Moreover, we have conditioned inhibition, which is associating the opposite with the response as well. As an example, I just reacted to a bell, which means that I would get food. But if there would already be a light on, that means that I would get no food, which is conditioned inhibition. Right. Lastly, we have superconditioning, which is done by first associating stimulus to the not, as in to say, you condition a light to be meaning that there's no food, but the bell is still unknown. And then when you associate the bell with food, the learning rate gets way higher, basically, and that's what superconditioning is. This was it for Pavlov on Pavlovian conditioning. We hope to see you again in another video.